6th, 2025 meeting of the Emergency Services Grant Program Advisory Committee. We are on our second grant review together for the Fall Fire Protection District round. And with that, I think we can just start off. I'm going to share my screen and we do have a guest on tonight. We've got Chief O'Brien from Left Hand, who's attending as the BCFFA president. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, Chris. He was going to
Yeah,
follow up on something from last week that was mentioned.
yeah. I just asked Barb if I could jump in right at the front of the meeting for two primary reasons. Number one, I had been thinking about the suggestion that was made at the initial meeting about maybe setting some portion of the grant aside for capital, for a single capital purchase item, or type of item. I think there's a few ways to handle it. But maybe the easiest way would probably be what we did a couple of years ago when the BCFFA did the radio grant, where the BCFFA, the group came together, figured out kind of what the material need was as a group, and then made a singular grant request on behalf of the group. Now, the discussion, the last meeting revolved around SCBA bottles. And I do think there's a workaround in those type of situations where there are different manufacturers, there are different models from each manufacturer. There's a lot of, not everybody has exactly the same type of equipment, but they all have similar equipment, which is that if, for instance, using the SCBA bottle conundrum as an example, what the BCFFA would do is put together a list of all the agencies that need all the, however many bottles, what manufacturer and what model they need. And then just make a request on behalf of those agencies to the board, so that it just streamlines the process. So you're not looking at 5 different agencies asking for a similar piece of equipment, although slightly different because it's different manufacturer, different model. So anyway, just a thought. I wanted to say that I appreciated the suggestion. I think it's a great idea. The BCFFA does have a track record of talking among the chiefs to figure out what's something that all of the agencies kind of want or need, which is what drove the EMS training grant request for this particular round. The The other reason I jumped in was just that if there were any lingering questions about any of the items that were being requested, if there was some additional information that the board needed. If not, I'm going to bounce out of here. So,
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate your addressing that suggestion, and I would agree that BCFFA seems to be a good organization to ask those kinds of things ahead of the grant round in the fall and find out if because we were, I think, surprised a little bit that so many people asked for the oxygen bottles. And if that could be something that people gather around early and submit a grant request that could be distributed similar to the radios, that sounds like that would be a nice way of tackling those supply items.
okay.
You're welcome to stay on. I think we're going to go ahead and sort of pick up where we left at the end of
No,
last week.
I'll leave you to your decision making. Thank you all for your efforts. And if there are no questions, I'm going to go walk my dog.
Great. All right. Thanks so much again. All right, let's see. So, going back to the fact that we are going to pick up where we left off, I'm going to see if I can share the spreadsheet. If you could let me know if that's what you're looking at. Looks like it from my screen.
Yep.
So just over a week ago on Tuesday, what was it, October 28th, the committee went through and had a lot of really great discussions about the grant requests and those that you were able to make.
Did Barb freeze?
Yeah, it seems like she might be frozen. Everyone else can hear each other still.
Yes.
Through that. Barb, can you hear us?
Does anyone have her cell phone number?
Good question. I'm sure it's in her email.
She can probably read our chat too.
Maybe, hopefully. Let's see. I found her number. Probably by this point she realizes there's an issue.
I think she dropped off. Maybe she's.
Oh, yeah, she did. How is the my mute? No, how are the winds up there in Ned and other places? They were getting bad down here.
Yeah, we probably got up to 50, 60 miles an hour today.
Yeah.
We also got some snow,
Oh, you did?
just a little bit while the sun was shining. It was beautiful.
That's
Oh,
great.
nice.
Ward's hitting. We are getting hammered with winds, very typical. And we got a little bit of snow, probably blow over from Niwot. You know, it hasn't really, I mean, it's landing on the ground, but it's really, the winds are just going off. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It might freeze me up. I'm actually surprised that that I'm still going. But I'm also surprised because a lot of times if the host leaves the meeting, they can't like rejoin us. So I'm surprised that Zoom is
Oh,
allowing that to happen. But I wonder if that's what's up with Barb. Maybe, I don't know.
I do have a message out to her, so hopefully if she needs to, maybe she has like a Wi-Fi issue. Camp Patia's up there on at the top of like before Gross Reservoir. It's a scout camp, and we do training up there. The assistant scoutmasters do. So I went out for my assistant scoutmaster training in 2018 and did not use my guidelines. And I learned you got to use them because my nice lightweight tent pole snapped and my tent fell in on me in the middle of the night. I never heard winds like that. And so I was like, ooh, every time it's windy here, I just know it's much worse up there.
I've never used the guidelines.
Oh, yeah. Windy weather will do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I haven't had my tent like
Oh,
implode on
yeah.
me before. I'm just saying.
got it.
Yeah.
I'm all about them now. Mine is like a very lightweight and it's got 3 angles, and it's really just doesn't operate as well unless you use the guidelines, which I also didn't know because it's the first time I used it.
There's a camera on top of NIWAT, the long-term environmental research center. So that is, I think NIWAT's clocked the 2 fastest winds in, or highest winds in the county. 2 places on NIWAT, which is right above.
Which are? Yeah, which is about?
Oh, what was it? 202? I can't remember.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, but we get regular monster winds here, and
Yeah.
it's really coming off an NIWAT. And if you've ever gone up to Brainerd and gone to Left Hand and you see those massive drifts that build up like
Yeah, yes, they're
high,
huge.
it's because of the wind. And it's and if you're up on top of Niwot, you can see one arm just curls around Left Hand res and the other just is like straight
Wow.
above Ward, and it just pounds us. But you know, you get used to it.
Barb said her internet cut out and
Oh,
she
no.
said, is it still running? I said, yes, we're here.
Tell her we got all the grants figured out, and it's a tidy bit of business tonight.
Yeah. I wonder if she can join from her phone.
It does look like this meeting is still being recorded. So I'm wondering if we might want to continue the dialogue.
She said, please continue without me while I try to log back in.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Ben, I feel like you should lead us.
Yeah, so I've got the grants up here, and this is Barb's summary sort of from our meeting last week. So we have green or yellow to kind of revisit once we have gone through all of them and determine what we should allocate. And then we clearly have some that we have not discussed yet, just as we have a lot of applications this round. Last week, we had a sort of process of going through groups that were, and maybe we continue to do that, say, as we talk. So I'd be looking at groups here. I think the last one that has not applied before is Louisville, which I feel like Louisville applied before. Louisville, we did award tech rescue equipment too. So maybe this should say that Louisville was a repeat. So with that, with no particular order, I'm inclined to just go from the top here and we can work through these ones that we have not discussed yet. So that would put us to this first one, which is a BCFFA grant applying for about $150K, looking for countywide EMS education grant. So this one was the application to have EMT courses hosted for Boulder County firefighters. They would host these at both NED and the Lions Fire Department stations. And I'd like to open it for anyone who has any thoughts on this application. This one, just looking at the scoring, scored slightly lower than average for this sheet that Barb had printed out for us.
So this is more of a question than anything else, not being as familiar as the rest of you. How is training handled today? Is it done in the individual agencies? Because this says that the grant says it would assist 17 other agencies, and the grant funding, no matter how much is invested, would go towards reducing the cost per training seat. And that it would be separated out in the budget in 2027.
Yeah, good question. So the general way this is done, if in a volunteer agency, is someone joins the group and then they usually elect, they say, I want to do a EMT, or I want to do a structure academy, I want to do some of these archetypes of firefighting, you know, go down more medical, go down more structure or wildland. And and when you elect to do one of those, your department will usually pay for your medical training or your structure training, whatever that looks like. So right now, if you joined a department, you know, maybe next year you would do an EMT and your department would cover the cost there. So the goal of this is then to alleviate some of that burden on departments to then have to pay for their members to get training.
So it's not an overlap of services. This is the association that does that the training, and it's about a reduction of the cost per seat for all of the 17 agencies that would send somebody.
Not quite. So I mean, I have some thoughts here. I see Rick shaking his head. Do others want to chime in? Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
No, this would not change much, except that instead of individuals and their agencies having to find that training, have more of a coordinated effort. there'd be more coordination. You know, the EMR classes would be more organized. It'd be put on a schedule. As it is now, you have to kind of hunt and find for it. If you want to be an EMT, you're going to go to either Front Range Community College or something similar. It really is taking it away from the individual districts and how many people they may want to support, and making it a broader open enrollment.
Yeah, and this one, if my 2 cents, I think at face value, there's benefits here. I mean, I'm someone who would take advantage of this program if next year they're like, hey, you're a firefighter, you can get your EMT for free. But kind of a dirty little secret is EMTs are free already. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the state of Colorado made EMTs free. So I can go to Front Range Community College next semester and take an EMT class for free. So this is a need that is already being subsidized at the state level. This already exists. And another thought I had is that EMTs, it then becomes a little bit expensive to stock them. So let's say you made every firefighter in Boulder County an EMT. I think that is a good thing. But also you have to equip them with actual medical gear to then be able to do interventions and apply their skills. And then all of a sudden you have these departments that maybe aren't able to give medical equipment to all of their new EMTs. So I'm kind of, you know, there's two sides of the coin to this one. I think it's very good at face value, and I have no problem with everyone being able to get EMTs, but also that already does exist, and it is free.
And I will just add in that it's also budgeted to do, I think, if I remember the grant correctly, 100 students for CPR, 100 students for BLS. And the need is much greater than that. Almost every responder, you're going to want to have CPR and BLS, which is way more than 100 people. Plus, you know, setting these up in Nederland and Lyons, I got to think are the extremes for the county, which means I don't know how many people are going to want to participate in driving, you know, having a 2-hour commute for this training.
It seems like on the one hand, this makes it easier for other people to just go and get trained. They don't have to do anything. They may have to travel further than they'd like. But on the other hand, it's actually costing the system more, if what you're saying is correct, that this is a free service that the system doesn't pay for now, but there'll be if we do this, there'll be an extra $150,000 redundant cost added. Is that right?
The redundancy would be if comparing to the state offered programs. So I would say the offering is at the state level for free EMT classes through Front Range Community College.
And that's open to the same exact people that this service would be open to.
The Front Range
statewide
is open to anyone. Anyone can sign up for that. That's the state just saying we want people to be medically trained, and they realize the benefit in that.
I think the challenge is some people, right? If you're coming from Ned and you try to get into Front Range, you probably have an hour drive. So
yeah, it goes both ways.
yeah, so that's hard for them. I guess I'm looking at the application again to see if there's enough detail here to understand where and why, or if this one requires follow-up and scale, like maybe scaling back. Like, have they done an assessment that they have the demand? You know, in the first year, we expect to train 420 students. We're not sure how they got that number.
If we like this, but we're unsure about it, maybe there is.
Yeah.
Maybe you say, look, we're only going to fund a quarter or a third of this as a trial program and see how many people you really get and see what the need really is. And if it's overwhelming and we're doing good to the community, then come back next year and we'll fund the rest.
Well, I love the concept of the educational fund. I'm almost tempted to ask, can we have this educational fund that's managed by them, but then is just paid out to the agencies as each agency takes responsibility for the care and training of their people? I'm not, I'm not sure what the efficiency is in the way they want to organize it. I love the idea of setting money aside to make sure as many people who want to be trained in medical are trained in medical.
But they can get it for free right now anyway.
Just the EMT. For EMR, for CPR, for all those other classes, you're still paying.
Pediatric is probably not free, huh? The pediatric life-saving was one they listed.
Right. IV certification, IO certification. Those are all things one pays for.
Okay.
I have a
And I love the idea that there's a
To the
fund.
exclusion of the free. We could say we'll fund all of these, but ask why, you know, we don't want to fund something that the state has made free and reduce it in that way.
That's a good idea. It also looks like this isn't maybe not a possibility for a test because it says in 2026, they actually want to move this to a separate training budget, which I'm assuming would be funded someplace else other than this grant.
Ben, I have a question. So what you're saying is people could individually go to Front Range, regardless of, you know, what your travel time is, or you could collectively take these courses provided to a group of folks in Lyons and or Netherland. And I'm wondering, is the state subsidizing them for providing this education at all?
Good question. I do not think that, Ned or Lions or whoever their instructors are, I don't think that they would be getting anything from the state. I think they would be teaching this mostly on a volunteer basis, I believe.
Or there are places like Front Range CPR, Colorado Mountain Club that offer some of these. I don't know if they do this particular one, but there are other agencies that do fee for service to do these kinds of trainings, different ones. And it's not just Front Range, right? Is any community college or any, it's like.
Yeah, there's a variety of places.
Yeah.
There's Arapahoe Community College. It happens to be at the community college level, but
Yeah, that makes sense. Those tend to be like workforce development programs, usually are at community colleges.
So it looks like the organization currently has a training fund set up. And they were able to reallocate $100,000 into this standing fund line for training. So they already have a standing budget for this. And they're looking to increase it from the county in 2026 to 150,000 into their standing training budget. So that would be in addition to what we might be offering them.
I can speak to this. I just was able to get back on through my iPad. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so sorry about my connection issues. So the commissioners have paid $250,000 each year for firefighting training out of the emergency services tax, not out of the grant program. So what the proposal is, and the commissioners have just increased that $100,000 for 2026. So now they have $350,000 in the firefighter training fund out of the emergency services tax, but not out of the grant program. So what this proposal is saying is, will the grant program pay for EMT training in 2026 with the caveat that they are going to go back to the commissioners and ask them to add this to the training budget that is still paid for by the tax, but takes it out of the grant program. So if you'll remember that pie, about a quarter of the money goes to grants, a quarter goes to this other fund that pays for ongoing services, and then the other half, the full half of the fund, goes to the search and rescue building. So it's not like it just kind of goes into a whole nother area. It stays within the tax. It just isn't funded by the grant. And I'm hearing what you're all saying, which makes a lot of sense. I know the commissioners want to broaden and diversify the training that is paid for by the emergency services tax. They don't want it to all be firefighting. So they are going to be looking at not just EMT, but search and rescue training, and other kinds of training that addresses emergency services and search and rescue. And BCFFA is sort of trying to be the only game in town right now. But it sounds like some of you are knowledgeable about other resources for training that could be supplementally funded in addition to what BCFFA is putting forward for the fire training center, especially on the diagonal in Boulder.
I mean, just looking at the overview of the proposal description, it looks like they've said they could offer training in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 areas, and we're only saying that one of those is covered at community colleges. So I see your head nodding, Ben. So I think it could be, yeah, do these 6 that are not free to anybody. Unless, yeah, that's what I think that I heard from the group is we should fund the things that are not already accessible to via state tax dollars. And that would still be, I think, a big support, especially given how many requests we have this round.
Could we have them break that out? Itemize
Yeah.
that minus the EMT training?
Yeah, because they say, I have their application up. They said how many of each would be trained. Hold on.
So again, this proposal for the 100, well, I'm sorry, I forgot the amount. I don't have, is it right in front of me here? For 147,000, that is strictly for EMT training. There is 350,000 additional being paid for towards firefighter training that you don't see because it's not a grant.
And is that all the other 6 subspecialties, or?
It's just firefighter training. And I don't, Ben, you might know, you know, what that entails. If it's fire, if it's wildland and structure.
Yeah, that might go towards sheriff duty officer, fire duty officer, wildland training, things like that. I'm not 100% sure on this.
And unfortunately, I can't access any of my files right now.
This is here, I'm putting in the chat. This is what a section of their question 2. And so they're saying first responder, basic first aid, 25 students, basic EMT, 20 students, IVIO. So they broke it down. And then their reasoning, and this is not the whole question, the goal is to advance the EMS training levels for all agencies, especially in the Western County, and to provide better EMS response where response times are slow. I'm paraphrasing.
Hey, welcome back, Doug. I see you're on shift. We're just chatting about the BCFFA grant for medical training in the county.
So I can go back and get any information that you are seeking. But again, the idea was that BCFFA had wanted to include this in the standard ongoing training budget. They asked for 500,000 this year. The commissioners would only increase their budget to 350. So they put the 150 they didn't get into a grant.
This is another one of these band-aids to get them through the year, which we've seen a few of in this round.
But also, if they're asking for something that is funded and they can get the training through a free resource at community colleges, why? It seems like we should bring that to their attention. Maybe they just don't realize it. Or at least talk to them about it and say, hey, this is what we think. I think that would be the question to go back with, Barb, is just this one category of training that Ben flagged.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the answer to any of that. I know that I think there's some level of, I don't know whether there's a standard for Boulder County, the idea of training people kind of, you know, in the county.
So if we took out the duplicative training that's offered at the community colleges, how many seats left is that?
Well, it looks like they're only asking for 20 basic EMT seats. And if that's the one you're saying is available at the community colleges, it's a small portion of their overall
Yeah,
request.
it's not going to save that much money on the
Mm.
grant side of things if we took that out.
Although there
Unless,
could be
I mean,
a big cost difference between the different.
yeah, they're,
certificates.
yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah,
Uh,
the EMT is like a semester long course, you know,
Yeah.
type thing. Whereas EMR is half that or a third of that, and the IV training is, I forget, 10, 20 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $50,000 for the 20 EMT trainings. It's on in their question 5.
Okay.
And they said it said, yeah, we're prepared that it could be partial funding. Our plan is to use the funds to cover all of the seats possible. If we have,
Yeah, it would just reduce the
Yeah.
cost per seat.
yeah,
It would just divide it by however
But-
many training seats they had and
yeah. But it said they would do $50,000 would give them 20 EMT trainings for free, for example. So if we say cut the 20 EMT seats, that would scale this back $50,000 to 97,000.
I mean, for the mountains, not a lot of the rural agencies get the IVIO training, because to keep up that certification, you need a certain number of sticks, you know, over a period of time, and we don't have that volume of calls. So we don't generally have a lot of certified people in that up here by choice.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw this one as yellow scale back, and we're going to consider reducing this ask by 50K for the EMT levels. I think that we perceive that is about a third of this grant ask and is offered otherwise, and maybe would be a duplication of services here.
Okay.
And from their end, just knowing the whole story, they asked their training budget is 500K. They're getting 350K from the other parts of this grant that are not part of the this round. So they already get money for training, and then they're going to get another 150K. So in total, they're getting another 100K, even if we reduce them by 50. So they're still getting 450 of 500K for their training. So
Yeah.
hopefully that meets their needs.
So I'm hearing you're gonna recommend 100,000 of the full request? Or do you want to make an exact 2/3 or?
I mean, they said in their application it's 50,000 for the EMT training. So the cleanest math would be to say, you said that was 50,000 reduced by 50,000. I think.
I like that. So that makes it.
You can just follow the paper trail. Like, why did we reduce it by this amount?
So that comes out to 97,125.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. You still want to leave that yellow, or do you want to take a vote on it now?
Let's vote.
Get some green on the board.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I think we can put this as green at scaled back by 50K. I'm seeing some
Got
head
it.
nods.
Okay.
We'll try to match your color green, Barb. Oh, that's a
Yeah,
different-
just grab it, format it. I
Oh,
cannot,
yeah.
for some reason, I can't get back in. I think my laptop completely just died.
Go. I'm gonna remove consider here.
Barb, is that like a dead, like never to be rebooted?
No, it's rebooting. It just won't connect to the internet.
Got it.
But everything else in my home right now is connected to the internet, so. And I was out on the laptop today, but it's been weird the last couple of days, so. Dying slowly.
Hmm.
Okay, good to knock one out. Next one here is Boulder Rural. So Boulder Rural is looking for some goodies for a new Type 6 engine. Again, a Type 6 engine is your brush truck, kind of a pickup truck that you use for response to wildland fires, gets used for some medical calls and hard to reach places as well. They're asking for things like hand tools, hoses, fittings, radios, and other necessary items for their newly purchased Type 6. And this one was scored pretty much right in the middle of our for us. So anyone have thoughts on this ask from them?
If my memory serves me correctly, and there's a lot to remember here, but I feel like this one was the one where they bought the second one with the intent to decommission the one that was old from like 2007-ish or something. And now they want to equip both after all. And I think some of the funding is going towards keeping both of them in service, not just the new.
I
Okay.
think it's that they're retaining the old equipment on the old rig, and there maybe was a previous thought that they would bring some of the equipment from the old rig to the new rig, and now they're like, we actually should just have two rigs.
Right.
That's right.
So, taking it on face value, it seems like they do need, well, they do to use the new one, they need the additional equipment.
If they're not willing to pull parts from the old one.
Yeah, because they said they have a new strategic plan. So for following further review and the adoption of the new strategic plan. So it seems like their plan changed from
Right.
from a year ago. And
One of the line items that they're asking for is a bunch of 800 megahertz Motorola radios for $10,000, and I'm wondering. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
oh,
Get some water.
looks like they're actually getting their engine. It was signed June 3rd of 2025, and it's going to be delivered this spring.
Mhm.
So they're gonna not even, they haven't even started. So we funded a new Type 6. They ordered it in June. They're gonna start building it this February 2026, and they should have it between May and June. And if they can order between February and April, they can have the equipment in May.
It breaks down as 10,000 in radios, 8,000 in chainsaws, 18,000 for more radios and chargers. So that would be that doesn't make sense. But 20,000 in vehicle radios, a pump 8,000, a touchpad mount 8,000, and hoses and fittings for another 17,000.
What's the total ask?
57.
57. 47. Does that math add up?
47. Yeah, here's the items.
Those numbers, it seems like those numbers should be higher, honestly.
No, you're right. It's 32, 42, 40.
18 plus 17 alone is 35.
Closer to 60 or 70.
Yeah. I didn't catch that before.
So are they only asking for 47K of this total?
Yeah, they mentioned that earlier in their grant. They said it was like 73,000.
Right.
And so it looks like they're asking for less.
Yeah. The estimated cost to fully equip the new Type 6 engine is 73K. Thanks, Cynthia. Good catch. So they have a funding of
23.
of X.
It's
That
the
leaves
last
roughly
line.
23,361.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have some money towards this. So they're asking for just picking up the difference there.
I mean, unless there's a problem with this equipment, it seems like a reasonable request. It's below the average for what we're going to give out. And it seems like good tools.
Yeah. Yeah. A way I would pose this is, does anyone have any objections to this one? This seems like asking for equipment for a truck that's going to get there.
My only objection is about the handheld radios. since there was such a large distribution of radios already, and these are the 800 megahertz, which are not in the same family.
Are these the wrong radios to be buying because they don't communicate?
They're right for them, but those radios wouldn't chat with VHF. Go ahead, Doug. I think we had some feedback.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think just knowing what they have over there, it'd be dual band radios, so there'll be a VHF 800 radio.
So do we need to ask them if, or recommend or suggest they buy a different radio to work within the county?
What they're requesting works.
Okay, cool. If it works, it seems like we could vote on this one. I see heads nodding. Okay, I motion to vote on accepting this.
I second that.
Great. All in favor, raise your hand physically or digitally. 1, 2. Doug, what do you got there? Yay, nay? Okay. Looks like everyone said yay.
All right. Great. Cool. Okay. So next one here will be the City of Lafayette. This is the automatic CAD. CAD is a computer automated dispatching system. And we had heard a little bit about that last week. And this again is Lafayette asking for it, sort of pitching that this is on behalf of the whole county and that they will be the ones to host this infrastructure.
From you people in the field, how nice or important is this?
Doug, I think you'd be the one closest to this.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is free up the main channel that the dispatcher actually talks on. So what this will do is it'll send out notifications to whatever agency the emergency is going on an automated channel. So that's not tying up radio traffic for people that are actually on a call. Like today, there's probably 7, 8 calls that I went to that I never had to talk to dispatch after they toned me out with the initial dispatch. So they're trying to remove that radio traffic and open it up. And I think some of their concern, but I'm not positive because I haven't talked to anybody on this, is the city of Boulder is going to be integrated with the county now with closest unit dispatching. So they're thinking there might be more calls that the dispatchers have to overlap on, and the system will get tied up. I'd say most days it's not a huge deal, but when you get your weather events, dispatching becomes an issue when it's tied up on the main dispatch channel and you're just trying to get dispatched out on a call, or you're trying to get information back to dispatch, but you can't because they're dispatching people onto calls. So you can't get out on the radio.
So you think this is a helpful tool then?
I do. And one of the things that's nice about it is it's an automated voice. I know it sounds funny, but every time a different dispatcher comes on, you kind of have to get used to their voice and trying to figure out what address did they say, or what's the call type. So when it's a digitized voice, it's the same. I don't know. There's something around it, but I guess your brain figures it out faster or whatever, or gets used to it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think my only question was when I asked the sheriff about it, is they have a communications Bretza is what I was talking to him about, and it's like the I think it's the tax, the 911 like tax that you pay, and they have a ton of money. But I think the problem they have with that is there's a lot of red tape and it takes them forever to try to get any money out of it. And I was just, if this is like a communication dispatching thing, I was trying to ask them, why can't Bretza pay for this versus it coming out of this grant? And is it just they're taking it to this grant because it's easier to get the money? That was my only question to him. I didn't really get a good answer, I guess.
Yeah, to echo you, Doug, yeah, I think that this could be helpful. It makes sense. It's a modern system. A little bit of questions from me is this grant pool the appropriate place to fund something like this? Like a red flag to me is like licensing and year one support is 50K. So that's just yearly operational costs and licensing that they're talking about. And this is as much as we fund some entire agencies for, and this is just for 1 year of licensing to use the system. So for something like this that is going to incur yearly upkeep and yearly maintenance, is that something that this proposal said that they can then handle? Is this one of these band-aids with the sheriff's office? I think that's kind of what they were getting at. But those are some thoughts from my end.
What insight does everyone have? There's a statement here, it says worth noting, all the agencies that are directly involved have budget implications for a segment of this project. However, the BVFC does not maintain a budget through dues or fees. So does that say that there's going to be some other implications, unintended consequences down the road regarding other budgetary implications for all these other agencies that are benefiting from this? That it might fall down anyway?
Sure, that's what it sounds like.
Right.
It does say it's to fully fund this portion of a much larger product or project.
I saw that.
It's not dependent on the other parts of the program.
And this is another situation where there's an ongoing annual fee, which they plan on budgeting for in the future, but didn't this time.
But it will serve the whole county, right? It's 6 agencies. Doug, was that you nodding? Yes, yeah. This is, well, we could say it's going to one agency. It's 6 agencies together and they're doing it on behalf of the entire county. So I think we have to look at it a little bit differently.
I don't know if you're willing to just hold off on me. I can call my chief and figure out, because he's the one obviously submitted for this. I don't know anything about it, and ask him and see if I can get some answers and we can move on to something else while you guys
Sure.
want to do that. Is that helpful or?
I think so.
That's why you're here. Yeah, no, that's for much more. It's great. Great.
What about if we didn't cover the licensing fee and we covered everything else and it dropped that grant, like, what is that, 50 grand or something for the licensing fee?
But can they do it without the licensing? I mean,
Yeah.
they can't. That's the whole thing with tech.
It did say that the project needs to be fully funded.
Yeah,
They can't accept partial.
yeah.
So I mean, if you were to do that, you'd have to say, we'll give you the money, but only if you can for sure come up with a licensing fee.
Just as a matter of like, how are you going to responsibly fund this for other years, unless what you're saying is this is just that catch-all for this year, and then they will magically have it all together in future years.
Yeah, I guess we want to know, if we do fund this, is this something that they plan on supporting and that they budget for support for this in the coming years? And if this is something
that is in there, they do state that will be part, they plan on having it as part of their ongoing budget.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, is there ever a time where it's actually helpful to have a conversation with dispatch? Or literally, can it just be a pre-recorded message or a text or a a telegram.
It's helpful, but I think the point is that this allows for that conversation to happen. The format is usually units get toned out, 4 Mile, Sunshine, Gold Hill, BES, and County FDO. We have call of a smoke report up near Switzerland Trail. Here's the address, and what I'm getting at is the dialogue. This might be a 30-second thing. Everyone goes en route, and then they have an update for you once everyone's en route saying, hey, so we got a call, this is what's going on, because then they know everyone's listening to the radio and what's happening. But while that's happening, there's a call happening in Louisville, and there's a call happening up near Ned, and there's a call happening in Left Hand. So it takes some of that traffic off of that main dispatch channel. So I think this could be helpful. And if their application states clearly that they are budgeting for the maintenance costs of this in the future, to me that answers our main question.
It sounds like you like it. It would be useful to the entire county, and it would benefit multiple districts. So is a better way to think about it. Instead of it's $150,000 grant, it's really a $10,000 grant to 15 different districts.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we've talked through at least my concerns. Does anyone else have concerns with this one, or any reason to oppose this? Okay, if not, I would motion that we vote to approve funding for this one.
I second that.
Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. Great. Great. Okay. Next one is 4 Miles Ask. I'll pull up their application here. The summary of their ask is looking for upgrades, deferred replacement of equipment, including a new crew truck, ALS capable medical equipment, other items to best support department members. And they have tiered and prioritized their ask. This one was scored a little bit lower, kind of in the bottom quartile of our assessment. All right. All right, as I'm bringing up this proposal, does anyone have any thoughts on this one to open us up?
I did not like this one. I can't remember why though.
Mm-hmm. Here's this. We can look at some of the more specific items here. So the big thing of their ask is the crew truck, life pack, pagers, radios, stabilization, SCBA, ticks, and wildland pants.
I know we funded trucks before, but I guess I was feeling a little frugal because we were short on cash.
Yeah.
They didn't really scale their request. I mean, they talk about the fact that it could. In question 5, they say it's scalable if limited funding is available. Funding prioritized by both urgent and non-urgent. They recognize that it's large. They're prepared to continue deferred replacement on items if they're not approved during this round, and they're grateful.
Okay.
But
So they gave us their list and they said whatever we can fund, they're happy to get, but they might realize that they're not necessarily expecting the whole list. Yeah, I mean, to me, most of this stuff is pretty standard. I mean, LifePack, we funded one of these for Indian Peaks before. Pagers, radios, ticks, wildland pants, all of this stuff is pretty, I think, digestible. Maybe some of our more questions would be about a crew truck for them.
We have said no, I think, to a crew truck before when it was like, we need this for mostly a particular person. And I think the concern was that was this going to become more or less like almost a personal vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, I don't know, I mean, this is not a firefighting truck, right? This is, it says crew truck, it's an F-350.
Yeah.
Maybe you and Doug can share more or about
how
those get used.
Yeah, so this truck would be something that they use to not firefight, but they would do medical calls, they would do fire prevention work. They have a mitigation crew. So this is sort of how they would load up, get their crew around to go cut trees for the day, do some thinning in different areas of the forests and areas that they service. Get some medical calls, get around.
Got it. Okay, this is that sounds, I mean, is that in here? Am I just missing that? I'm trying to.
Well, the thing that's weird about it is in the application, it's like item 1, 2 is this truck. So I'm not sure if there's something that's supposed to be on line 1 or line 2 that's missing.
Yeah, the way I interpret that is maybe item 1 is the crew truck, and then item 2 is the topper. A custom fab topper might be,
yeah,
you know, at 10K or something, and is bought from a separate manufacturer. So maybe they separated those out. That's how I interpret it.
Did they say they have an existing truck? I think I'm looking back at my notes, and one of the things that I think I struggled with this proposal was I put, didn't really say if current equipment does or does not exist, and if it will expand services, or if this is a nice to have or a necessary upgrade. And I think that's kind of how I felt about this entire proposal.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Rick?
They definitely, that is a great question. And the fact that they didn't state that would be of a concern.
Yeah.
Is it worth a follow-up question to them before we vote one way or the other?
I would think so.
So, yeah, I think this could be also evidence of like, maybe they haven't written a lot of grants, because that's the thing I kept struggling, like, where's the specific, we need this because of this.
Yeah.
And there's sort of a lot of narrative context, but not a clear description of here's the need, here's the thing we're asking for, this is how it solves and answers the need, you know.
And as much as I keep harping on it, I am questioning again the radios, and I'm wondering if BCFFA really managed that radio distribution in a way that distributed to agencies as needed, because the fact that they're asking for these radios means they didn't get what they needed in that when BCFFA was managing the distribution.
Well, is this a different radio?
No.
Okay, and how many are they asking for here?
It doesn't say 14,000 worth.
So
that's probably
3 or 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, maybe they got some, and that could be a follow-up to anyone asking for radios. Did you get any from this? Why are you?
Any? Yeah.
How many asking for more? Did they not have to report that in, Barb? The BCFFA before, who they gave them to and that they were distributed?
I guess we have that spreadsheet, but thinking out loud here about that process, I was involved with that from my department side. BCFFA originally had a much larger ask of radios that they were going to ask this committee for, and then they sort of got wind of how much money this committee actually had. So then BCFFA went back to all of the agencies and said, "Can you please scale down your radio requests?" Because we won't get this grant if we're all asking for as many as we're asking. So every agency kind of pitched in and said, all right, originally we wanted one for every firefighter, and now we'll do one for every officer and thin it down. So if they're asking for some more, no.
They
To
probably need them.
To me,
So
4 Mile has a lot of trucks. They might have more trucks than they know what to do with. They have crew trucks, they have crew brush trucks, they have like 2 or 3, they have 2 brush trucks at least. I think this is a nice to have, and it services their crew. Their crew is a paid firefighting staff that they have that generates money for the department. The way they do that is by doing contracted mitigation work. So they go out in this crew truck and they get paid by homeowners to then do land clearing. Harry, you've probably interacted with that.
Yep, I'm one of those.
Yeah, and then they also go out on dispatch and get paid when they go and fight wildfires. I would,
well-funded.
yeah, so I would guess that this crew truck is a nice to have, and I don't think that this application clearly stated that there was a need for this. I'm not opposed to asking them about this, but to me, if they're these items 3 through 9, I think we can probably all digest, and that would put this ask at like 130K.
26.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we're comfortable with these items. I don't want to speak for everyone. I'm comfortable for these items and that kind of dollar amount, that level to fund an agency at. I think we would want to know a little bit more before we also allocate funds for a crew truck.
So how about this? We approve 3 through 9 with the contingency question of, do you really need the truck or not?
Yeah.
If they don't need the truck, we're done. They just get 3 through 9. If they have a rationale for why they do really need another truck and it's got to be a F-350, then maybe we revisit the whole thing. But it gives you, it lets us potentially not have to revisit them again if your suspicions are correct.
Yeah, I think it's good maybe to ask what their inventory, what their truck inventory is and year dates, so we can understand what they're working with. I mean, I believe what you're saying, Ben, but I think it might be helpful for us to help them understand.
Yeah, be objective as well. Yeah.
Right. So it's about 127-ish. I mean, under that is everything else. I kind of rounded up a bit. So I would be for funding those things. Got a compelling
here that this is like 127K approximately.
A little bit less, but I mean, you know, the
Yeah.
cost of everything together. I think unless they could make a super compelling case for that 350.
Yeah, maybe it just needs a chassis.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me, anybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
good, finally.
Does it
I wonder,
change?
I mean, I'm a little concerned about going back with the question of, do you really need this? I think that's a very subjective.
Yes, I agree. I'm
So
glad
I
you're
hope-
saying that, Barb.
What's that?
I'm glad you're saying it. I think it could just be the committee needs to understand this part of the request better. Can you provide an overview of the trucks you have and the need for this truck? Like basically give us an inventory, what they're used for, and why, you know, why is this one necessary? Because if they're asking for it, I think you assume they need it. And you have to get them to answer the questions we actually need them to answer, not do you need it?
Yeah.
So what happens though if they come back and the answer is, hey, really, this is the thing we need the most because all of our other trucks are dead. And if we had to choose between a truck and the equipment, we really, really need the truck. I mean, I don't think that's going to be the case, but what happens if that's the answer?
We'd have to revisit it then, the story, we would have different information, we just come back and assess the information and move forward with it.
So could it, I mean, could our process here be, whoever, Ben, is it you that'll talk to them? If you come out of that discussion and decide they don't really need a truck, we're good funding 3 through 9. If it turns out, hey, maybe they do really need a truck, we just revisit the whole thing because.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think
Okay.
if they do need a truck, and they make the case for that, then I think we have to accept that at face value and consider doing it. But then also they did ask for a lot of practical things as well. And so yeah, I think we revisit this if they
really
if they demonstrate need and use for this truck.
In previous cycles, we've partially funded some trucks, where the agencies were putting something toward the truck and it wasn't all on the grant.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben, can I volunteer you to call them with me? Like we've
Sure.
done with some other ones, and you and I you can parse out sort of those individual questions. And we'll determine, we could also do this by email. I don't know if we want to extend another meeting. We'll have to talk about that after this.
Well,
But it sounds
I'm trying to empower you so that if you get an answer that we're all comfortable with,
Yeah.
we're just funded. If you get a different answer, then we maybe should revisit it.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
It
What
is
do
a
you-
pretty substantial ask in total.
They have a
For
good
an agency that
base,
is well-funded.
right?
Yeah.
A good tax base. I mean, they have a decent budget. They have funding in their budget.
And
So
they've
I think
gotten money in the past from this grant.
Yeah,
I think in 2 rounds.
they got 100-ish. I don't have their total.
Yeah, I'm
Here,
looking
their
back as
total-
well.
Their total to date is 93K.
Okay, so they only went for it one time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I've got the notes on that.
Okay. I'm gonna put this as green/yellow, being that the green is we're approving the 127K of their items 3 through 9 of their ask, and we'll see what they have to say to us about their crew truck request, and we'll kind of revisit that, and maybe at the end of the discussion tonight we'll have more clarity if we'll see how much money is there, and if cutting this 119K for their crew truck makes a lot of other things make sense, then maybe that helps us think about this as well.
Are you asking them to prioritize that versus everything else, or not necessarily?
I'm hearing the response, I'm hearing the request as you're fine with everything but the truck. You want us to go back, ascertain the true need for the truck and kind of make a judgment after we have that conversation with them as to whether to add that back in or keep it out.
So it's not an and or.
No, it sounds
Okay.
like you're pretty solid on the 127, like everything but the truck. Is that?
yeah, that their application seemed a bit vague on that, and the committee has some concerns and questions.
Yeah.
Given
the
the
way,
materials provided.
yeah.
Right,
The way
but
Maria worded it was good.
But my question to the group is, if they come back and they say, we really need the truck, and they have a compelling argument, would we be good funding them for 250,000? I mean, would we fund the whole thing, or would we then ask them to prioritize truck or equipment?
Can we put a pin in it and come back to it and see what else we approve and see how, see how the
Sure.
rest of the things that we approve impact that?
Yeah, it's
Well,
getting
we might
kind of
not have any money left.
squishy. I mean, I appreciate everybody really trying to get the right answer, but I also think we have to be cautious of going in and dissecting each one of these
Yeah.
because it's not fair to the others.
Right.
You know, we're not bound to ask the exact same questions of every agency, but we should stick to the idea that there's some basis for picking apart some, and this one clearly is a bigger ask. So I think there's reason to look to cut it back. But I also think that you need to be able to use what they presented and make decisions. And if they haven't really made the case for something and said what you're looking for, you don't have to go back to them. You can make a decision with the information you have.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the expectation is. And I think it should be a real exception to go back and ask, unless it's something that really, you know, you just can't, it's not clear enough to make any kind of decision on. We're starting to get into some gray area with legal, I think.
Like, how can we help you do a better job on your grant?
Yeah, you guys didn't do a good job, so tell us more words.
Yeah, I mean, we don't understand the need. They haven't made a clear case. So,
And that can be enough. I mean, you can say, try again next year and make the case stronger. You know, maybe in nicer terms, but
I see you
But
did
we'll-
that in the past. Can you keep deferring?
yeah, but we put a pin in it, and I'm calling it orange to not
Okay.
get the green red. And so we'll come back.
Okay.
Do you, yeah, you looks like you skipped over Boulder Mountain. You still want to put them aside? Did you all get the email I sent out that provided an alternative reduced amount?
Yeah. I think right now we were going through just the ones that we haven't talked about at all yet, and then
Sounds good.
revisit our yellows here.
Okay.
And one last thing, and then I'll let it go, is if we hold them to that, they haven't made the case that they actually need anything.
yeah,
Mhm.
correct.
I mean, they haven't made the case that that they're out of Nomex pants or that their pants are torn. I mean, it's a badly written grant proposal because they don't say we really need any of this stuff. They're just saying, here's all the things we
We
want.
want our wish list, yeah.
So Harry, do you want a motion to vote?
No, I don't know.
You don't want to be the bah humbug.
Well, I mean, again,
You're not getting through Harry.
my proposal on it would be, again, we take it on face value with what we know, and you know, some of it is off the cuff, but it sounds like they maybe don't really need the truck. From what Ben knows about this, is that if they don't really need the truck, we fund the rest of it. If they do need the truck, then they got to come back to us with everything and justify it, because it's a big grant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
And
think we have to be careful of using knowledge that Ben or anyone else has, because that's not part of the application. It could be incorrect.
That's why he would go and ask.
Yeah, so yeah, it seems like we would have to then ask them to explain the need for all of it. At which point you could just say, I mean, there's also an aspect of like Barb's time, Ben's time,
That's true.
and carrying out like how much we let this carry on versus saying, you know, it didn't meet the standard that we need it to meet in order to fund it with, you know, consensus or majority approval, and move on.
And given the number of requests and the amount that we're limited to, given all
Yeah.
those requests, so you know, I would still be for funding those other things, as they keep, you know, they did articulate that they've been deferring these items. And so, you know,
Okay.
like Harry says, unless they come back and they're like, no, we really want the truck. I think that gives us leverage to say, we really didn't feel that the case was made for the truck.
Yeah.
And so legitimately, we want to understand what your inventory is, so that we understand, you know, what kind of, you know, other grants will talk about, you know, their trucks leaking, but they're going to keep limping it along. And Harry makes a great case that they really didn't compel us. And we can only do so much with that. We can only lead them to their water so much, but I think it's reasonable for us to split the grant apart and to take a look at it and see what we think is most imperative, given our limited funding.
Yeah, and I guess just rereading this, they talk about the crew truck being used for type 2IA hand crew. What Shadow Canyon is it is a hand crew that the county puts together. They get a couple firefighters from each agency, you get a couple from NED, a couple from whoever wants to come down. You join and you form a 20-person hand crew, and then you go out on national dispatch and you go fight fires wherever in the country you're needed. And that generates revenue. Groups get paid for having their equipment out and their firefighters out on those dispatch assignments. So a good portion of this truck would be its availability for use by Shadow Canyon, just from reading their, trying to judge them on the words that are written here.
All right, it's getting late. We still have a lot of decisions to make. So I think we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
move on from this. And it sounds like we're going to
Mhm.
get more information. So it's kind of a,
Yeah.
I agree. We don't really have a
Yeah.
consensus on it, or we'd be done with it.
Yeah.
so right now we have two that we're asking to get more information on. This would be the second. Or are there others?
What was the other one?
I don't know. I see yellow scale back on the Boulder Mountain Fire.
We got that
this-
though. That was from last time.
Yeah, these yellows are from last time still.
Oh,
So
There were some caveats we're gonna add into the agreement. For instance, on the City of Lafayette request for the automatic dispatching, we're gonna get more information to ensure they could fund it ongoing after this one time. Yeah, that was the only thing I had is in terms of follow-up.
Right.
okay.
okay. Next one here on this list is Gold Hill, asking for 85K. They're asking for a concrete apron for their fire station to replace dirt area, replace half of their SCBA bottles expiring, hardware upgrades to their UTV, a porta pond, potable water system for their station, and hygiene improvements.
The hygiene and water seems reasonable and important. As does the water heater. I don't know enough about the need for concrete apron.
Right. They've been able to live without it. It's not like they're replacing it.
Yeah,
What
I
is-
think, that's
yeah.
one part of it, but like, is it gonna support them in some way? And this is a place where they can come and ask for capital expenses. I think that's more or less a capital expense and maybe a significant one for Gold Hill, which is pretty tiny.
And not to put the pressure on Rick, but does this, I know the last time you funded them, you gave them money to put the door in so they could get their truck inside. Is this kind of needed in addition to that? Like they can't get the truck inside without this additional work?
Yeah, part of it is having an apron in front of the station would be able to pull the trucks in and out safely. You know, the dirt does get mangled pretty easily, and the county doesn't really maintain that area. So yeah, it's similar to the doors getting the trucks in and out. And you know, I looked at the grant, and they did prioritize. They said of everything, you know, that apron is really the most important. And then I think the last thing, and then they said the SCVA, and then they said and then they had a final priority, which was replacing other equipment. So yeah, I mean, the apron is one of those capital expenditures that they've been putting off for decades because
Yeah.
it's never become a priority.
And there really wasn't the funding or a tax basis to support it. I mean, so
That's
for those
exactly
who
right.
for those who weren't here before, they got a new truck and they couldn't put it in their firehouse for a long time. So we helped them I assume it's done, build a new garage door so the truck would fit in the firehouse.
Yeah, I think that's still in process. I know they've contracted for a bunch of it. I don't know what's gotten done and what hasn't gotten done.
But they can't, I mean, part of it is they can't run the truck in the garage without fuming out the whole station, it sounds like. And trying to work on a truck outside in the dirt,
Is awful. Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
think-
also do training out there.
Yeah, I mean,
This one makes a case for this equipment. I think that this grant can exist to help agencies like this out with capital expenditures.
it's a reasonable amount of money total. It's, you know, it's an average amount for all of them. I think it's a good use of funds. I like this one.
I'd agree. I think it's important. Did we ever decide? I'm sorry, I missed a piece on the bunker gear. I know the chief had said like, hey, each department kind of has their own spec, but in reality, when it comes down to it, when you're buying bulk bunker gear, like everybody can have Morning Pride or everybody can have Lion gear or whatever. Like nobody, I would assume, from these agencies are getting like Type 3 rescue harness installed in their bunker gear. So I didn't know if we kind of gave up on that aspect of having them do a group order or if it's just, hey, give them the money and let them deal with it at this time because it's a little bit
I
more.
think the recommendation is get ahead of it next year and have BCFFA round up the kinds of bulk things that could be purchased and have this committee perhaps give a broad grant that then gets distributed for those bulk things, but that we didn't do that for this round. So we're not going to try to do bulk purchases for this round. It's a good idea that will be anticipated for the next fall in, well in advance. So that agencies could say, okay, if we're gonna buy SCBA bottles and bunker gear, this is what our needs are. That's all totaled and beforehand, put in as one big grant to get the, economies of scale. But that it's just too late to go back and double back with everybody now and try to assemble that. So I
Sounds
guess
good.
the choices are fund it in this time or put all bunker gear on hold until next year. And then do it one way that's been suggested.
I think bunker gear is going to be asked for time over time, just as it wears out at different rates, which was something we talked about. I see heads nodding. So I think we vote to fund this fully. Like just take a vote on, do we fund this fully or not? And then move on. It's a sizable grant, but it's not massive.
Sound good? Anyone opposed?
A motion to vote.
Second,
All right, all in favor? I
Looks like it
can't
passes.
see everybody, but I didn't
Right.
see Cynthia or Jody, but with their hands up.
I got
Cool,
two hands
all in
up.
favor. I had to like shift my row over. Maybe I can do a different view and see everybody on this side, the gallery view. There we go. Now I can see everybody.
Great. Yeah, Gold Hill's Port-a-Pon ripped on me in the last training I did with them. I was like pulling it down and it fell apart and I got soaked. So
Oh,
What fell apart on you?
their old Port-a-Pon. They're like
Oh,
third
no.
item here. So
Yeah.
I've seen their
You're
old-
like, yes, replace it.
yeah,
Are you holding a resentment on them?
yeah.
You waited until after the vote to share that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Okay. Next one on here, we've been going for about an hour and a half. Do we want to take 5 minutes or do we want to take one more here and then take 5 minutes?
one more quick one.
All right, one more. Let's look at Indian Peaks asking for a brush truck and heat for their station.
Not a quick one.
Yeah, this one was they're replacing their old 1992 brush truck that has a barrage of issues. They don't have a backup truck basically, and then they're looking for heat for their bay.
Is it a heating source? I'm trying to remember the details on this. Like they want to install a heating source?
Let's
I'm
see.
trying to call it up. My internet's still down.
I'll pull up their proposal here.
I got it up here. Let's see. A F550 extended cab, 68,000. Buck stop single wheel conversion with install, including wine bumper, 30,000. Package, blah, blah, blah. Lights, winch, other equipment, 127,000. Total brush truck request, 225,000. Am I on the right one? Indian Peaks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Station installation and heat, 22,000. They've sought bids and discussed options with O'Meara Ford, Buck Stop, and Highway Products, Warrior Bush, SVI, and other places. Our goal is to build as economically as possible a modern brush truck competent for our terrain. Buck Stop conversion. The truck will not be used for fire dispatches.
Yeah. So what I'm reading from this one is, I mean, I think, pretty clearly demonstrate need of a brush truck. Indian Peaks is in an area where, brush truck is pretty much going to be one of their bread and butters for emergency response. And they're saying like, we're not sending this out on dispatch. Like this is for us to use in Boulder County, as compared to what one of the other grants we were just reading had said. To me, they demonstrate need for a brush truck here.
Do we have the money to fund it?
Well, you could put it down and then come back and circle back once you look at everything.
Yeah. I mean, what did we fund them for last time? It says repeat.
We funded them last time for, I forget what we funded
I
them
know.
for.
I'll look it up as you guys.
We
are
had gone
talking.
back to them and said, "Are you sure you don't want more?"
It was like a manual, what was that, like something that they were using for response with automobile accidents, I believe.
They got extrication equipment. and
Oh.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the first year they got cardiac
They got a life.
machine.
Yeah.
Looking up their second one. Yeah, it was extrication equipment last time. So they haven't asked for much. This was a much bigger ask than we've seen from them in past years.
I think they got inspired.
They knew we funded some.
I think they got
brush
inspired
trucks.
at Jamestown and some other folks.
Right, they're just up the road from Jamestown.
I mean, a 1992 truck, like in Ward, we will keep things going with duct tape, but, and they'll keep it going no matter what. I mean, that's just how we roll, but, it is a big ask.
Do you want to put the amount in as a yellow and circle back once you've got some more?
I mean, just on face value, I guess I'm trying to remember why certain things are yellow, consider after the big ones are, but we have funded other trucks like this for areas in need. So to me, I would just vote yes to do it.
Have we funded at this level, or
Yeah, we funded over 300,000, I think, for a truck last
Yeah.
time.
No, Georgetown was, I think, the highest at 220.
Okay, so similar, maybe a little inflation cost there.
Yeah. Well, that includes the,
Yeah.
what did you just say, Rick? There was something else. The heat.
Yeah.
The
The
Yeah,
short
truck-
part's about
Insulation.
225.
their truck is 225.
So in line.
Do you want to take a vote on just moving forward, or do you want to come back on this one?
I think
Vote.
I motion to vote on moving forward.
I would vote moving forward if we have the money to fund it.
Mhm.
That was the only reason I was gonna leave it yellow, is just come back and remind yourselves that if you need to cut back, that was one you considered over the,
Why don't we do this? Why don't we vote to fund it? And at the end, if we're short of money, we will come back and revisit this one.
okay,
That way
Does that sound good?
we potentially
That
don't
sounds
have.
good, Harry.
okay.
All right, all in favor? Funding? All hands were raised.
All right. We've
At
been
our
going
5-minute
for
break.
hour and a half. Let's take a few minutes. It's 7:33 here. Let's get back at 7:40. Take 7 minutes. Stretch out, do whatever.
Good.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Hey, Ben, I just wanted to let you know I took over. I put this, sorry, hold on.
Awesome. Yeah, I see your screen and I see that you've got the notes down.
Yeah, just so that we can see a cumulative run of how much is left over kind of thing as we're going along, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, awesome.
Let me know if I missed anything and it looks different from your accounting.
This looks good to me, Barb.
Okay, good.
Cynthia, is it blowing really hard at your place right now?
Oh, I hate that. Can you guys, I could
Yeah.
see it over the mountain all day
Oh, it's
long.
blowing like crazy up here.
For some, in the last like 15 minutes, it's probably blowing 50, 60 right
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
I don't have any way to measure the wind speed, but yeah, I walked past my door, it like blew in through a tiny crack, and I was like, is my door fully closed? And it's just like and it's cold, so it's kind of shaking my door a little bit. But yeah, we just had a couple gusts that were really impressive.
Yeah.
Are you expecting snow up
We've-
there or is it all wind, all bluster?
It's kind of funny because when I looked earlier before I went down to Longmont for my dental appointment, it was like said it was going to be 40 degrees, wind. And as I was leaving, I was like, are those snowflakes? What do you know? And then it was snowing as I was heading down down the canyon through Lyons. And then it was fully snowing by the time I was coming back.
Nice. Huh.
So yeah, it's been off and on snowing. I was out sawing up some wood before the meeting, like 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was dumping on me, but it wasn't like landing that much.
Mm.
We really need it. It's so darn dry up here in the mountains. And with the warm weather and then the gusts really starting to pick up, it's concerning. So as much as it's nice to have the long time to prep for winter, I'm willing to forego my own concerns, and I'm like, just give us ground cover because this kind of stuff is real scary. We have a lot of new residents into the mountains who may not. When I worked for the town of Ned, one of the biggest concerns that the Ned Fire Department was dealing with, aside from faulty wiring, which was very common, is improper ash disposal. So people putting those ashes, in a cardboard box on their wooden deck. I made like a thing to give away at the Ace Hardware about proper ash disposal, given that it was super concerning to folks about like, get the approved can, leave it in there for 2 weeks at least. Like you really want to cool that stuff. And helping folks understand that like zombie fires can happen when you just kick snow over stuff. They'll burn the duff for a while and then cause those zombie fires. So just education of new residents is really important. And when you have winds like this, it's pretty concerning.
Yeah, even people who know what they're doing, that 4 Mile fire was a firefighter possibly
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
thought he'd done everything right.
Right.
Yep. That was awful.
Yeah.
Looks like
and-
Lynette has joined us. I'm not sure when Lynette jumped down, but welcome,
Speaking of
Lynette.
Ned, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks. I got done with all my work stuff, so now I'm here. So I haven't been here very long.
Okay. We just took a break and I think we're getting back now on track with left hand.
Yeah.
Left hand.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for holding in. I know this is a big round. Hopefully these next few we're discussing here are a little forward. We have left hand asking for 59K. They're asking for 12 SCBA cylinder and a Lucas, basically an automatic CPR device you can put on a patient and it will do high quality CPR. Frees up a lot of your manpower. It's a very, very good device.
And left hand is certainly far enough away from definitive care that good CPR would not last very long, human driven.
Are there different types of Lucas devices? This is the second one in this round that had asked for one, and the other one, the pricing was like 28 or 30 or something like that. So this one seems a little bit more expensive.
Good question. Lucas is a brand itself. It's a Kleenex thing. So if they're asking for a Lucas device, that's the same company manufacturer. I think we would have to go into the actual itemized quote to understand that better.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I can stop sharing if you want to go ahead, share.
I have to find it first.
Yeah, I'm trying to open it up as well.
I don't remember the other
It
other
looks,
grant that asked for the Lucas. We actually covered it, I think, on the last
I've
evening.
got it. So I can share my screen, but basically they're asking for two.
Oh,
It's the so you're right on the pricing price.
yeah,
There's a
and
couple
there,
other things
and
like
I'm on the
that.
I'm on the Lucas website, and there it seems to be only one model.
I agree. That's all I see on the website.
so is 2 excessive when a lot of them don't even have one?
How many did we give to Lions?
Let me check.
Yeah. I mean, left, I believe, has an ambulance.
Lions does, right?
They do have 2 smashed up vehicles outside the left-hand fire department right now.
Is your point, Cynthia, that you might need more than one device at a time?
I just think they handle car accidents because I've seen a lot of smashed up vehicles in front of
They have a
over the
pretty good
years.
call volume.
Mhm.
They also have they cover a lot of Heil Valley Ranch and part of Hall. Or, like there's a lot of Heil and then it goes back up. So a lot of mountain bikers and just tough to get back in there. So if you're first on scene and you have one of those machines, it's probably, it's probably gonna be helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not able to open up my files and apologize for Lions last year. But I do know Left Hand has an enormous, it said Bruce just mentioned a very large territory to cover.
52 square miles, I think is what they said. 14 communities.
Don't they also have Calwood?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
So the kiddos, like they would probably be responding to anything up there as well. And Ballarat, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah. To use Chief O'Brien's own words, he said the question is, what is your rollout plan? If they have 2, what do those look like? And I mean, for them, it's probably throwing one in his command vehicle and one in their ambulance. I don't perceive this ask to be excessive. It looks like it's for useful medical items and replacing some capital funds, or replacing some funds for capital expenditures like the SCBA's.
And the total is seems like it's kind of at the lower end.
Yeah, 89.
I would move that we fund this fully.
Second.
In favor.
All in favor?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I was late, but yeah.
Yes. Barb, what was the next one on your
Yeah,
spreadsheet?
I was just gonna share, you're at Louisville.
Louisville. Okay.
Oops.
Louisville is asking for wildland equipment, tech rescue, updated PPE radios, and tools for improving capabilities in BOCO, asking for 81K. And is this our first time getting an ask from Louisville?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? And it could just be that I'm not understanding or I don't know enough. So in their grant proposal, somewhere it talks about being able to utilize this equipment in like, they didn't necessarily say mountainous terrain, but they were like in difficult terrain. And I'm like, have they been to Louisville? Like, so I'm not sure what the equipment is. Is it to help other jurisdictions, or are they talking about someplace in Louisville that I don't know about?
I thought the same thing, Lynette. I mean, there is open space that
It's
is,
not,
I
yeah.
wouldn't call it rugged living in the mountains.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like, I could probably drive in a
yeah,
Prius
you've
somewhere
got
on
some
the stuff.
hills and some,
Yeah.
steepish areas. There's,
So I just wasn't sure,
Hey,
like
now
maybe
this is my town we're talking about.
I
hey,
know.
I love Louisville, but
It's just like I
they're
heard
open
rugged terrain
spaces.
and I was like,
Wouldn't-
I'm not sure the dog park, but like, is that equipment meant for like vehicles, or is it more about like, I know that like last time we had that for El Dorado Springs, they had the request for equipment that they could do as mutual aid kind of thing. So I wasn't
So
sure
it
if that's what this was.
it says I wrote this in my notes. It says a member of the Boulder County Wildfire Cooperative works with neighboring departments to improve wildfire preparedness through blah blah blah. So could it be
Yeah.
more of the assist side of things?
None of their equipment seems to respond to that. I mean, it's $82,000 of $30,000 of radios, more of those BKR 5000 radios. The Wildland PPE at 25,000, hose pack pump, thermal cameras, $11,000, rescue harness, support gear. I don't know how much of that is educating.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the intention was for them to make the case that they would use this equipment in the unincorporated areas, whether it be mountain or rural. But the committee can judge whether they did that very well, because ultimately the money is not to be directed to the cities for use inside the cities. It's not that it can't be, it's just that it's low on the priorities.
How would we be able to verify that in any way?
Yeah,
I
I
have a
guess
similar question. Like when you say that, Barb, I mean, many of these requests are coming from, well, I guess it's a few cities and then the mountain districts are different.
Well, the difference is it's an incorporated city or town, which means that it
Uh-huh.
has funding.
Got
That is from urban taxpayers. Not that they don't pay into the sales tax, it's just that this tax was originally made for the agencies that don't have a lot of funding, certainly don't have the amount and the regular property tax streams of income that cities do. So in the past, we've had enough money in the grant round, even though you all have cut back and you've not necessarily provided all of the money that's requested. The cities that were included in that, I think there was an idea that in a tough and competitive round like this one, cities would take a lower priority unless it's specifically for something to be deployed in the mountains or the rural areas,
Mm.
assisting those agencies. So if this is something that a city would use almost exclusively, but would lend it out or make it available in the event of a multi-agency response, this is a question that is somewhat treated differently based on when you're fully funded and well-funded from the grant program standpoint to the round like this, where it's a much more competitive pool.
So is this helpful? They say Louisville Fire is the only member of the countywide technical rescue initiative lacking essential gear. Funding will close this gap, ensure equipment compatibility, and strengthen the Boulder County technical rescue team's effectiveness, reflecting a commitment to resource sharing, cost efficiency, and unified emergency response.
What is the technical whatever?
So this is when like a culvert collapses or somebody's trapped in a building. It's a structure usually.
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
funded
okay.
some stuff like this for
Lafayette,
Lafayette, that
Boulder,
was it.
and Boulder. Again,
And
yeah. And Longmont already had theirs. So the argument initially, Lafayette was the first to ask for it in the first round. We figured southeast corner wasn't as well represented in that area. Boulder then came back the second year and asked for this. Again, a year that we had more money available than we had requests for. So I think Louisville's saying we're now the only category or city on the sort of eastern southern front that isn't equipped. But the question is, does everybody need to be equipped for this very specialized equipment that is often or very, very rarely deployed?
yeah, and I think
I would say
even
the wildland. Say wildland gear would be probably
Yeah, that sounds
used
more.
more, right? Like if there's a wildfire, you know, in the foothills, like all the flat agencies get toned automatically for that, or not automatically, depending on the scale
Mhm.
of the wildfire. Um,
Well, and we're
seems
getting
like that
more
would
and more
probably be
fires out
short-sighted.
on the plains. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
In the grasslands.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with the wildland stuff, especially after Marshall, and they do have some, open space that definitely, if something did catch, and they
Yeah.
were close. And I think is that the Bendix King radios that they're asking for, which is usually what the bigger agencies, right, that are easier to program and such communication. But the wildland gear, I'm kind of like okay with for sure.
Yeah, my comments were strictly about the technical rescue equipment, just because Lafayette had a team that was trained up. I don't know if Louisville has the same level of capacity to respond in the way Lafayette was with it. Lafayette just needed the equipment. You've also outfitted now, very big areas with this equipment right around Louisville, kind of surrounding Louisville.
It's also worth noting that the tech equipment is a very, very small portion of this ask. Their rescue harnesses and clutch kits are 7,600 and support gear is $9,000. So all that together is 16K. So that's a small portion of this.
Ask. Let me try to call theirs up.
I'm okay with this grant.
Or are we saying that we should prioritize the wildland fire products versus these last two things that were about 16? So if we took the 81 minus the 16, you're at like 65.
I'm with Ben. It's a relatively small part of the grant.
Mhm.
Right, 16.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just, if we're going to give it to him, I would give him the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to not give it to them. They're also one of the very few agencies you haven't asked for funding before, which makes it, at least to me, from a fundamental view, is maybe harder to scale them down.
I think that's a good point, Ben. I hadn't realized that they haven't asked before.
Yeah, I think Barb's point is that the intent of this is to support some of the lesser funded agencies, and I think we are funding some of the more rural and mountainous agencies pretty well. My hunch is that we'll have enough money to fund this, and I don't see a reason not to.
Well, to play devil's advocate,
Mhm.
these cities with these city-sized budgets,
Mhm.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
I
Rick,
think I kind of fall in that same boat, Rick. I sort of feel like with this one, I sort of feel like if we, because there are some, and I don't have all my stuff because I'm sitting in my car, but like there are some of these other rural ones, like I'm just throwing out Timber, the stupid Timberline ambulance one, but like we're not necessarily funding all of the rural ones, and so
Mm.
it feels weird to fund a municipal, and I don't know. I just sort of feel like maybe if we looked at the rest of the rural and if we fund all of them, and then there's a little bit, like there's enough that we could do this. I think it just could also set a precedent. Not that it's a terrible thing, but if Louisville, Lafayette, Erie, if they all start asking, I don't know, I feel that that sort of takes away from some of the smaller agencies that really truly struggle.
Right. As I said at the last meeting, for some of these larger professional organizations, their snack budget is equal to the total annual budgets of these rural districts.
Yeah, I guess so I'm just pulling up their
Yeah, I was gonna pull up there.
2025 budget, and their 2025 budget is about 1.2 million a month.
A
yeah,
month? Wow. I mean, when you put it in that context,
I'm trying to make that bigger.
and you think that like hygiene Barb sent the email that hygiene passed their mill levy. That was
Right.
part of their request, right? So they could, I mean, this is $80,000. They could pass a mill levy and get a lot more than that and say they need it. Whereas, yeah, the rural zones can't do that. So
Yeah,
we're sort of a lifeline.
yeah.
So that
80K
looks like
is
the entire city budget.
okay.
Are we allowed to
That seems
consider,
small for a city budget for a month. A
Barb,
city the
are we
size of
allowed to
Louisville.
consider the sort of relative resources of the districts?
Yeah, that's why we asked them to send
Okay.
their budgets in. As
reasonable.
one other piece that you can use to make a judgment.
What do we think about maybe holding off on the technical stuff, even though it's not much, and sort of thinking about that 65,000, maybe in yellow, as we revisit other more western areas? Because I'm inclined.
I'm trying to divide out what's the technical. It's the, is it
It's
all
just
of this?
it's just the last two. It's rescue harnesses and clutch kits and support gear.
Okay, right there.
Yeah.
So
Um,
is the proposal that we fund them 65,000 and hold back on the others?
Well, I was going to say the exact opposite.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking they could probably afford, I don't know, like do they have purchasing power that Gold Hill does not have to get a good deal on Bendix King radios?
Well, if we
Like,
knew they needed radios, we could have included them in the big buy.
I feel like they may have been, I can't, unfortunately, those files are not, I can't access them right at the moment, but
Or
Or do you
they
think
could
they got a
no.
distribution?
I don't want to speak to that until I could
Okay.
answer it responsibly. Let me stop sharing.
their yearly budget is 14.3 million. I'm okay kind of holding off on this one and saying they probably
for-
have funds for this.
Is
Holding
that
back
for
on the whole thing.
fire or for the city then?
That's for the fire department.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so we're putting this on circle back with them on the total amount or just on the technical? I'm just trying to make sure I'm accurately.
I would put the total amount on hold for now and see what
I agree.
else is there. And then you come back and say, okay, did we say no to something small in a rural district that maybe we should have said yes to?
Got it.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I was being accurate. Okay, so you're on to Lions.
Lions Health and Safety Grant.
Oops. Why didn't it go back?
Alliance is asking for four diesel suit filtration devices. I think these are the things that attach to your exhaust. So when you start them up in the station, they don't send diesel exhaust into your station. That's a pretty big health concern for firefighters. 11 sets of bunker gear. And I think that's their ask.
Right.
What's that?
You got it
Yeah, that
right.
sounds right.
Okay. Yep.
A total of 85,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's not popping up. Why?
I mean, I do wonder why the filters are not part of their maintenance, annual maintenance fee, but
Does anyone need any other information out of the proposal here?
Just hearing Rick's question, are these things that need to be replaced every year?
oh, it says the diesel suit filters have an annual maintenance cost that would be absorbed by
Oh.
the district's operating budget. Oh, so
Ah.
this must be the installation.
This is the installation, yeah.
The turnout gear need.
I like what they say about bunker gear. They're looking for bunker gear, and they said that they donate some of their old gear to other districts.
Right, and it allows for periodic replacement over the span of several years.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, I'd say.
I did forget to mention that I thought Louisville nailed the equity question. They
They
really
did have one of the better responses.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who did better
Agreed.
than
They understood
anyone,
the assignment.
Right.
yeah, anyone
And-
who did better than we serve everyone
Yeah.
got bonus points.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was still the sort
There
of.
were still a few of them that basically said
Mhm.
we serve everyone. But hey, the needle moved,
Right?
Yep, sure enough.
and it
Yep.
made people think and think about what they were doing and maybe think about what they could be doing.
I think we should add a -1 as a scoring addition to
In
next round.
Going back,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not a bad idea.
If they
on some of
just say
these.
we serve everyone.
You
Yeah,
mean
'cause-
when it's
'cause
said
we-
in addition to serving everybody.
Yeah, right.
Because we can't mark it with red pen and give it back to them.
Were you a former teacher, Rick?
Something.
Does
Okay, I'm so
anyone
sorry.
have
Back
any
when.
objections to this Alliance one?
No, I would move that we fund it fully.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
think that this is funding stuff for health and safety. They're going to then, they've clearly said they're going to continue the costs within their own budget, and they're handling the bunker gear in an appropriate way. So I would vote to
Second.
approve this one.
Voting.
Voting.
Approve.
Agreed.
All right. That was a quickie.
We need a quickie every once in a while.
Knock
We'll
it
never
out.
get through the list.
All right. So now you're back with more Lucas life packs with Netherland. Oops.
So
that's not what I
they-
meant to be showing.
Ned is asking for one Lucas device and a replacement life pack.
What is the economic? I realize that they've recently had a hit, but what does Ned's numbers look like?
That's a good question. I'll pull that up here while we chat.
I can say they just did CPR on someone a couple weekends ago in the traffic circle. And
Oh.
that was pretty awful. Like it was a
Yeah.
lot, and it was like and with the altitude, I'll also just say with the altitude, they get a lot of cardiac events up there, it feels like.
Mhm.
Oh,
Um,
I would not surprise people that come from the
Yeah.
hill, from the
They just-
flatlands.
I
yeah, they
worked
just don't
down in
know.
Netherland for 10 years, and I'm not sure if it changed, but there was an issue when the Downtown Development Authority was formed because it froze the tax district in the area, in a certain downtown area, and it didn't include a heck of a lot of the construction and new revenue outside of it. So like 80 Big Springs didn't include any of that. They might have made a change to that. But I do know that it was hampering them on getting tax revenue for quite a lot of years. So just something to consider.
They
They
also
did just buy Eldora.
Well, they didn't.
That's the
Oh,
town,
they-
The
not the
town is
fire
selling
department.
municipal
Oh,
bonds.
the town. Yeah,
Fire
yeah, the
That's
town
in,
did.
it's
is a
in
big
process.
town.
They've actually got the Bank of America has given them money for this. I don't know, but they do respond to Eldora as well.
Will
So
tax revenue flow from that to their fire department, or in no way, shape, or form, or TBD?
I don't know if that will happen.
they'll have
Okay.
to they'll have to annex Eldora, and I think that's the plan is
Mhm.
to annex Eldora, because right now it's county, it's not the
Right, I
town.
would
Or
think
it's
in order,
state, it's probably national land, isn't it?
It's some
Most of the ski resorts are
It's on
National Forest
I
Service.
think it's surrounded by Forest Service. I'm not sure the
Mhm.
actual specific Eldora itself, but this is part of the I don't know how to explain, like, it's not necessarily, I don't know, it feels like they're just winging it. But I think the plan is to annex Eldora so they can reap the benefits of whatever taxes they get from there. And they're gonna open it up for summer events and crap. So, but that's down the road, because for right now, Powder still runs it, and it's gonna
Sorry
take
to
them a
derail
while.
us.
I don't know
What?
if they can,
I said-
and I don't know that they have contiguous boundaries. I mean, the county owns a big conservation easement on the Evans land. So I'm not sure about that, but
Yeah, I don't I just show up for work. I don't know.
They did
But
make a,
I think, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, Ned Fire still responds up there regardless.
Yeah.
they did make a strong argument for the Lucas device for their ALS command vehicle, which was, it's pretty strong. It's a couple paragraphs, and they really outline why it's such a great need.
I agree with that.
And
So-
I do kind of like their inclusivity statement.
Go look it up.
It was very Ned. I was like, it's not window dressing. I was like,
oh
okay.
God.
does this
I had
budget help
notes.
at all, or is this just harder to,
Their total revenue, their total budget is maybe 2 million.
is that where you were over here?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
1.7 for 9 months of the year, so
Got it.
we're two. I think both of these things, Lucas and a life pack, are helpful things up for the rural mountainous county.
Yeah, they're the only ALS surrounded by BLS districts.
Yeah.
Ah, very good point. Yeah.
And they come down, they auto aid with Sugarloaf for calls in the canyon. They go up to Indian Peaks and they auto aid down with Ward. So I think that there's a strong impact. These are in a command vehicle by a staff station. So I think this is a pretty high impact.
All right.
Motion to approve this grant in full.
I'm ahead of you. I already did it. Does anyone
I agree.
Agreed.
decline?
All right, Sugarloaf wants some new radios.
No radios.
They want 20 BK radios.
Those were the ones that were handed out 2 years ago?
Yes.
Did they just not get enough?
They probably want BKs for everyone in their department, which is not how most departments work.
You might not have been on the call when we were talking about that earlier, Barb, that the funding that came through before didn't fully fund everyone for as many radios as they wanted. And so
Okay,
that seeing these small time requests from all kinds of
got
people.
it. I know it seemed lopsided towards some agencies than others. I think some held back perhaps on what they thought was fair enough to ask for, and then they realized that other agencies did not show such restraint. So there's the breakout.
Oh yeah, this one. So what was tough with this one is they're looking for mobiles. So mobiles are a bit more expensive.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
20 mobiles for a volunteer mountain agency would be pretty wild, to be honest. I mean, most mountain agencies might have one for their chief.
We did quite a few of mobiles requests last time.
Yeah.
Let
They're
me
looking for
see if
ones
I
for
can-
trucks, mostly like adding 800 megahertz mobiles to existing engines, which makes sense. If you're asking for 20, you're looking for mobiles for POVs for volunteers, which would be pretty
Yeah, I was looking at their website. It says maybe 35 volunteers, 30 volunteers total.
yeah.
34 members. Yep.
What's
Yeah.
their scale back? If we didn't fully fund them? What did they?
Yes, the project is scalable. They'd prefer to have, though they would prefer to have all of the vehicles equipped with the same radio at the same time. We could prioritize some until additional funding is secured.
Some is a number?
Yes, some is a number, correct.
It's a number we give them.
Correct.
So just looking at the totals that have been given out over the last 2 years, looks like Netherlands had mobile radios granted last time.
Those were like 4 though. for
Indian
their-
Peaks,
Yeah.
yeah, this doesn't show how many.
Yeah.
Um,
Any ones that we did before were for trucks, for existing engines.
Okay.
Funding like 2 or 3 of them.
not just handing them out as to volunteers is
Yeah.
So it sounds like this is an excessive ask. Do you have a thought of what the right number is? Because it sounds like it's single digits. And maybe a single hand. Ben, that question's to you, given you're the one
Yeah,
who's saying how
yeah.
many.
I want to judge them based off of their application, and I don't want to say too much. But this is
What
this
did
is
they have? They
something
have
that-
3.
let's see, did they explain who they?
They said they have a vendor for installation, so I don't, it says they'll be deployed. But if they're mobile, do they need to be installed?
just
Yes.
what, for whatever reason, the mobile is what they call a truck radio.
Hmm.
So they gotta get
Oh.
installed
To the truck. That's
to a
what you
truck.
are.
But if you're asking for
Got it.
20, you're installing these in volunteers POVs, which
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much I don't know any volunteer firefighters in the county who have mobile radios unless you're a chief.
Yeah. That seems tricky, right? To even manage on behalf of a fire district to have them in a bunch of volunteer cars. But I mean, do they have other types of radios? Or like, how do they get called into something and what do they communicate with on a call?
I mean, you gotta use a handheld. I mean,
Or
radios.
do they have to go to the station and pick up a handheld? Or do they have a handheld that's with them all the time?
The way most firefighters work is they have their handheld because you get to the scene, you park your car, and then you're out fighting the wildfire. You're out doing medical for the next.
Yeah, so you have it with you when you're at home, for example, is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah. Like here's mine.
Okay, so it is issued. Okay.
Yeah.
So like Jody said earlier, maybe 5? Instead of 20?
I'm okay giving them radios. I just don't know that mobile radios make sense.
It's so tricky to pass this and then like, right, we're creating something and building it and people don't know what to ask for and they might not be aware
Yeah.
of what other people have. So, you know, what does it sound like to go back to them and say,
Yeah.
to our knowledge, no one else has 20 of these or 20 installed in
I
volunteer
think it's
cars.
more of an application thing, like 20 POVs with mobile radios is not an enhancement of firefighting services, really.
Got it.
Is there a recommendation?
I would recommend half.
Why half and not a quarter, which is where it seemed like
Mhm.
Cynthia was maybe heading.
Well, because I think they have about 6 or 8. I don't, I wish I knew what they had in their inventory.
It did say that they want them to last full 20 years.
And the ones we're using now are 30 years old.
This could be an ongoing ask. I mean, this is something they could build on over time and keep
Yeah.
asking for more of them. So if we're not opposed to funding some of this, maybe it's, not to split hairs here, but our 5 mobile radios installed within 34 so members, cars, fair, or is 10 more of a fair, given this is the content of their ask? Or do we not feel that that's even appropriate, given that it's in their vehicles?
I mean, it sounds like a question is how confident do we feel about quality control of installed radios in volunteer trucks?
Versus a handheld, which they also have that.
They check out and yeah.
Because obviously the maintenance in their personal vehicle, I would imagine that they would take them back if somebody left the department. But I'm not sure how.
Tricky. That's what I was thinking earlier. Like it's a kind of a tough one to manage.
And I'm sorry, and again, I'm in my car, but do they have, I'm not driving on park, but
Are
do
you
they have,
one?
is this about personal vehicles or is
Well, it says
this,
their fleet.
yeah, so
in
I'm thinking if it's their fleet, it's not in personal vehicles, it's going to be in official left-hand,
Right, but do they have 20
But this isn't
vehicles?
left
Say they
hand,
have
this is
20
Sugarloaf,
vehicles?
I think
right?
or I mean
Sugarloaf
Sugarloaf.
has, I think
I mean
Sugarloaf has
Sugarloaf.
5 or 6 vehicles if you look at their website. And that includes like crew trucks and utility pickup trucks.
So are they considering their fleet just sort of loosely as in everybody who responds in their personal vehicles?
That sounds, I mean,
That's
that's
how
what's
I
not
interpret
spelled out
this.
very well.
No, and I personally
So
have,
it says,
I,
yeah, all
I
of
don't like
our
the,
vehicles. But it doesn't, I mean, they don't define they don't
Yeah.
define their fleet unless they
Yeah.
have that many vehicles,
Can
which
we
would be
ask
odd.
that question? Like about
Yeah,
inventory and just to help us understand the details of your request. Were these for your personal vehicles or were these specifically for the fleet? We saw interchanging language.
okay. Does anyone
yeah,
else want to add to
have them
that?
define, if they could define fleet.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get a response on that and let all of you know what they say. So we put that on hold for the time being?
On hold with partial funding, likely.
Okay, this is one that we're gonna go back to like 4 Mile. So we don't have an amount, or unless there's other things in their request that you are comfortable agreeing to at this point.
I think it was all
Are you-
tied to that,
Yeah, you're right. It is all about the
all
radios.
bundled,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that one, there's no answer until we're comfortable of how those will be used. Okay. So you've gone through now. Yay! Give yourselves a pat on the back. Of the amount you recommended, you're at 1.2 million. I added in a little bit of extra money that was left over from the search and rescue round, just 14,000. So you have 814,000 to distribute. But do you want to get answers on the orange ones before you go back to the yellows? And if so, how do you want to manage that? Do you want to set up one more evening meeting?
I'm not
I
opposed to,
think,
but we could also email possibly, depending on how we feel about that. But it
I,
seems like a lot of content to get through in an email.
yeah, it seems like we still have a lot of decisions because we haven't even talked about what to do with the 1.9 million request and the 1 million request.
Yeah,
And so basically with what's left, we can't fund either of those.
right. I'd say if it was
But
more
we,
cut and dry, like, okay, you just have two quick decision points, you could do this by email, but I think you're gonna have to really go back and examine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 that are still questions.
Did anyone do the math to see if we ended up funding all of those except the large two, if we have enough money to do so?
Yeah, you pretty much do. You're
Yes.
about 13,000 short.
Mm.
But you're very close. So, I mean, we're over the time that we had allotted for this evening. I appreciate you're all staying
yeah,
an additional half hour. Um, Ben and I have some answers to go seek, and I mean, I can respond to you back by email on those, but I don't know unless you're able to make a decision tonight as to how you want to fill in those
Hey,
ones you were going to circle back on.
Barb, real quick, are these technically community meetings like anybody in the community could watch?
Yeah, there is on the other side of this, there's an attendee side that people can watch but not interject.
Right.
So,
I'm thinking we probably should meet again and not
true.
do, just because of that. If I
hmm
was a community member and wanted to see that.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right about that. In terms of forming the formal recommendation, it really should be done in a public meeting like this one.
I agree. Yeah, I think so. How many are you going back to ask questions on, and how many did we flag yellow because we just wanted to talk about them ourselves? The orange are the questions,
The
but we still
orange were
have
the
6 yellow.
questions.
2
Mhm.
are the big ones, and 4,
Now, as I told you, Boulder Mountain did, um,
The
talk to the
scaled
scale
down.
chief.
back.
They
Yeah.
scaled back at your request that they go back and do that. Um, and sort of the cut to the bone number was 220,000 from the 344,000.
hmm hmm
Um, I can talk to you more about that if you have any questions, but that's when you could also decide tonight if
Yeah,
you wanted to, because you got the answers
we asked for.
you asked for on
It
that
was still
one.
a big ask.
At
They're bare
220,
bones. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, his argument was, I think what did he end up doing? He was gonna take a few different approaches. But I think he cut out one whole.
He
I mean,
cut
I
out
know,
a Curtis Streamlight survival flashlights completely. Most things were reduced. He basically
okay.
like maybe if they had he cut most of the lines about in half of the bigger ones and then left some of the smaller ones. So I don't
Their argument was they had not applied in the past, that this was their first request. That he, for 3 years, has really been inventorying what their needs are and didn't feel fully prepared or ready in the last 2 years to come forward with an ask. He really wanted something to
mm,
be well crafted and
mm,
pulled together. Um, I started with saying, the committee has talked about providing half of what you've asked for. Um, his alternative response is more than half, um, by about 50,000. So, trying to remember, that's really the extent of our conversation.
I mean, this to me strikes me as something that if we fund with these cuts, they may come back, but they are going to have, if you look at the cuts, they're getting at least some of what they ask for in every category.
Still getting 12 AEDs.
Oh, I did talk to the fact that that's excessive from what we've seen in the standards across
Yeah.
most agencies. I did not get a full explanation of why those still stayed at a high number.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Well,
cut it from 25.
they're still getting a lot.
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah.
if we fund this.
Yeah. So if you want, we can also discuss this later. I just thought if there was a proposal to accept the amended amount and you wanted to just accept that tonight, you could do that, but it sounds like maybe nobody has the appetite for doing that.
I think if we're going to come back to discuss other ones, we can push that conversation to that.
No
Yeah.
problem.
I mean, they're asking for a little bit more of a fourth than of what we have left, just to put it in that kind of context.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it
I'm not
is
saying they
still
shouldn't,
higher
but
than
some,
most of these. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, some of them though are, $2,000. So at that point, you're like, maybe to just, fund the 2,000.
There's a way to sort these.
Because there is something too about, I think, I understand we don't want to fund things that seem unnecessary or maybe to be too much. And yet maybe when a district asks for something so small, it builds trust and goodwill in the program that, we asked for something small that was important to us and we get it, because this does have to be revoted on in the future. And so, thinking about the long-term support of this tax fund and having a broad base of people who believe they were supported by it.
This part will not be voted on again, just
Oh,
FYI,
well.
this is in perpetuity.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
how the grant program is structured ongoing
Oh.
could change. The only part that's dropping off after 2027 is the capital, specifically
Oh.
designated to the building of the search and rescue building.
But that part could be put up to be renewed.
That could be put up to be renewed,
Oh,
but
okay. That's
but
what you said
this
last time.
part and the
Okay.
part that again you don't see that has a lot of ongoing expenses
Is in perpetuity.
are in perpetuity. Yeah.
So we're looking at
Okay.
at 8 applications for 800,000 approximately.
If you were to look at it that way, yeah. These
Okay.
ones you haven't made a decision on, and some of them could be no outright. I can quickly do it and let's see how much the asks are.
I mean, I think that ask for, the reduced amount, the 220, like, it's nice that they wanted to wait to make a great grant. Could they tell others to do that? But at the same time, like, it's their job to jump in, right? The pool is there, the water's warm, jump in, get some on you. Fortune favors the bold, but you've got to ask. You got to make the ask,
Yeah.
you poo in one hand and I mean, it's like you have to, you got to get in there and grab at it. And so there are smaller agencies who have no grant writers, and and they're digging in and they understand it's there. So while it's my inclination to award people who've never asked, it's also on them to make the compelling case and to ask, and it's not our fault they haven't jumped in the pool yet. So
And I think
I'm not.
there's a variety of what agencies feel is the standard, and we haven't gotten to a point where everybody's on the same page. There's still some that really hold out for just cut everything, divide by 20 and give out that amount every time. So the sense of fairness, I think, is different based on who you ask. But I think this committee has really tried to balance this well with a lot of variables, whether it's in conjunction, how much is available every grant round, how much you're giving other agencies in that grant round, how much you've given in the past. I mean, there's just so many ways to what their budgets are, some of it feels like you're getting really in the groove of feeling that intuitively from what you've granted already and what you've seen and what you've said yes or no to. But there's still now for the training burn replacement, I'm just going to say I don't think there's much appetite on the commissioner's side to partially fund that has a lot of implications and a lot of capital needs that really should be sought outside of the grant program. So to make your lives simpler, I would say just turn that one down.
Which, oh, the
Um,
burn building.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
problem voting no on that.
I
Yeah, I would
motion
say-
to decline the burn building request.
Okay.
I second your motion. All
That
in
was
favor of declining, raise a hand.
Anyone die on that sword?
I didn't see Doug's vote.
I
Okay,
see a hand.
Lynette.
I don't think Doug was very in favor of it the first time.
Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Okay, so that
Okay.
was all in favor of denying.
Okay, so you got that done. Which takes out,
A million here, a million there.
I mean, that's a big one. So you're looking at a remainder of almost 8 million to squeeze into a box of 800,000. So
1 million. Is that correct?
yeah, you've already put this. Yeah, you've got 814 left to spend. And if you took hygiene out, you'd be at 776.
And that's fully funding the one with the truck.
That's everything remaining in this column.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything that's yellow or orange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we should take hygiene out.
You don't want to consider a nominal amount for them? Just
I mean, it's such a large ask. I don't know that we can make a meaningful contribution to it. Is my take. We could make meaningful contributions to all the others.
So they did say that they would take whatever we gave them.
yeah, and you actually, if you covered everything else, you'd still have
40K to give them.
40K to give them.
Not a lot in the scheme of things, but
And this
Right.
this
Said they-
already
Something.
is a $5 million project. They're just looking to get.
And the
Whatever
mill
they
levy
can.
isn't going to cover it. They do have other, they've been trying a lot of fundraising.
I mean, they can always ask again, and you never know. Maybe next time the asks do not meet the fund, right? So maybe they ask for 1 million again, and we only have 1 million requests, and we have 2 million to give out, and they get it. So I think it's okay to give them the 40,000, and they can always ask again next
Now that's
cycle.
with Boulder Mountain's full amount in.
yeah, so
Right,
it might
and
be more.
We've got those 2 orange boxes that we're still waiting for answers, and so
Exactly.
that those might change, and we might have
Yeah.
more that
Yeah.
would be to give out.
And the ambulance is still one of those squishy, does it belong in the grant program or does it belong?
It does
In the
not belong
sheriff's
in the grant
office.
program, but Boulder County should be reimbursing them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
Barbie, you said that the Boulder Mountain, that would be like the full, what was that, 344 or something instead of the 220?
Yeah, if I bring it down to this number, here, then essentially you have 160,000 left over.
I mean, that feels a little more viable, even if we did.
it's proportional to other amounts that
That
are
are
being
given
granted.
out.
Yeah.
Well, we have a
Yeah.
pretty wide range of what we're
Yeah.
recommending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Goes from 28 to 246. Okay, so it sounds like you still need further information based on what you've asked for previously in this meeting. We'll get some answers to help with that. We'll look at, we'll come back and look at these numbers in hopefully maybe an hour more.
think that's optimistic.
You do.
I mean, we're not making great progress here.
Well, you are. I mean, you're really down now to these that are left, and I'm gonna knock this one out. City
Focus on the
Boulder.
green, Harry. Look at the green.
Yes, glass half full.
I mean,
Um,
and we're
People-
not
people-
just being superficial. Like I
Oh, no,
appreciate
no, no.
all
I
the
don't think we're doing
knowledge and
anything
support.
wrong. It just takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this has been a super challenging one. I knew from when I saw them coming in that this was going to take more than the standard 2 hours. 2 meetings, I mean. Um, okay, so does anyone want to open up calendars and look at if there's a time in the next 2 weeks? You've all been very patient, giving more of your time.
What is realistic in terms of when you think you'll get those responses back for the ones in orange?
That's a good question. I'm out Monday, Tuesday. I'd say by next Wednesday, I could make calls tomorrow and hope to get responses back.
And Tuesday's a holiday of next week. Well, I don't,
It
it's a holiday
is.
for my company. I don't know if it's
Yeah, it's Veterans
Veterans
Day.
Day. Yeah.
I think Tuesday would be too early. I think
You
next
could give them a
Wednesday or
deadline.
Thursday night.
You could give them a deadline, Barb.
Yeah,
saying
I
like
agree.
the
But
committees.
yeah,
How about a
Yeah.
week from
Um,
tonight, same time?
week from tonight, same time would be I think the most the best if people
15.
can make it.
I might not be able to make next Thursday, but I can try on the tail end of it.
Works for me.
Anyone else know that it's going to be a conflict?
I can try and ask for the evening off. It's
Oh.
kind of the same thing as tonight, but I can try and get
The
that.
Thursday's just hard. Because I'm afraid that we go into the week before Thanksgiving, the 20th. Our Thursday's just hard for both Lynette and
I
Jody.
mean, what about the 18th? We've also met on Tuesdays, right? And Tuesdays. seem
Yeah,
like
I've
they're
got
better
the
available.
commissioner's town hall that night.
Oh.
And I'm committed on the 18th.
I have another medical appointment on the 18th.
And
Okay.
what about
God,
Monday
Cynthia,
night? Are
you're
those
falling apart, Cynthia. Monday night works.
The 17th?
I won't be able to be there because I'm out of town, but
Mm.
you know, y'all can forge ahead.
And this coming Wednesday, the 12th, that's too soon?
I can't do that.
Okay, so it
Can't
sounds
do
like
the
we're not going to
12th
find a
either.
time that everybody. So
Oh.
it's the 13th or the 17th. Seems to be the best options. It's a Thursday or Monday.
Or did we lose Colin?
He wasn't able to make the first meeting. I followed up to say, please join us for the second, and I never heard back from him. So,
Take that as a loss.
yeah, I'm not sure what we do have. We have somebody kind of was put on hold if he doesn't want to stay on. We have another member that we would put in his place, but I thought he was going to be here today.
Okay, well for this round, he's probably out, but he would
Yeah,
help
at this
help
point.
us get a quorum. But
Yeah, I think we have quorum. It sounds like next Thursday we would lose Jody and possibly Lynette. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I think I can make it. I would hope we don't go as long because
You have something to do that night?
I have
And
something
then
to do the next morning early.
Okay.
Barb,
And then on Monday, who do we lose on Monday?
Monday the
Was
17th. I
Yeah.
can't be there.
You can't be there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about the same.
I think you guys should do the Thursday, and I'm not 100% out. I'm maybe being able to dial in on the back half of it, and especially as long as these meetings they're going, and it's a good chance that I probably will still see you all.
Well, let's hope that we could get these. We can get it dialed back, but I understand.
If we have some information, Barb, in the email like you normally do, kind of giving us a heads up before the meeting, maybe that gives Jody and
Yeah,
Lynette
that's what I was thinking. And you two could
ability to
weigh
say,
in
Yeah.
with your thoughts.
Like email us.
And
Yeah,
just info for all expedite discussions.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, thank you, Barb, for sending the updated information for both Erie and Boulder.
Discussion, and if folks want to wait. Okay, I'm about to send this right to you now.
These meetings wouldn't go so long if Doug could not talk so much in these meetings.
Or
He
Doug
only
just
had
makes all
one-
the,
Seriously.
just make Doug the decision maker.
He only
Yeah.
had one call tonight.
Fund everything, less the burn building, and give everything left over to hygiene.
There you go. That would
Doug's
certainly
like,
make it
this is
easier.
where we're gonna end up.
Okay, I've sent that out. Thank you again for staying over tonight. I'm very sorry it went long. And we'll reconvene a week from now, hopefully with some answers to help you make those final decisions. Take care, everybody. Have a good Friday.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.